horse trek in Spain. Comedy, current affairs, drama and leisure tonight on BBC One.
Now, this week's Z-Car story.
Arthur Johnson, Liverpool Daily Postmaker. I think it's true to say that the image of Kirkby in particular might not be all that favourable. A lot of people have said that the Z-Cars image has had a lot to do with this. I just wondered if you could comment on that in any way, if you think it's a fair image.
I would say that the picture that has been painted is totally untrue and unjust to those people who have been working very, very hard to make the Kirkby area into a real community.
Kirkby is an overspill town sitting 10 miles above Liverpool, its parent city. 60,000 people live there, nearly 90% of them in council property. Kirkby has its problems. 1 in 5 of the men are unemployed, and 3 out of every 4 children leave school at 16. Over half its inhabitants are under 25, the youngest population in Europe. No one denies these problems. What they do resist is the suggestion that they, the people of Kirkby, are to blame. They feel strongly that their television image of lawlessness and vandalism must be corrected. Z-Cars is seen as the prime culprit. Last month, Kirkby won a small victory. The BBC agreed to drop pictures of the town from the opening of the programme. Kirkby didn't take to Granada either after seeing Ray Gosling's Portrait of a Town.
This place we're in is called Kirkby, Lancashire. 20 years ago, all that was here was a little hamlet and dark, very rich farmland. Now it's a new town of some 60,000 people who came originally because of the bombing, the overcrowding and the redevelopment from the terrible slums of Liverpool. Nobody came to Kirkby willingly, you were sent. This was your only chance in those days of a decent place to live. With a lot of regrets, people came.
Don't want to go to Kirkby. After the programme, the Kirkby Reporter gave Gosling its front page. Kirkby is gunning for a man called Ray Gosling. The reason? He didn't clean his brush before he painted a TV portrait of the town.
And this is what's been happening in Kirkby. It's easy for someone to go around with a camera and pick out the bad parts of it.
It's on the principle that bad news is news.
Yeah.
Yes, but it was even more deep than that, wasn't it? Because they didn't particularly find it. They went looking for it. He went looking for this name on the wall, didn't he? You know, what a waste of time.
Who's the name Quinner on the walls? Is it a footballer we haven't heard of for Everton or Liverpool? Is it a gang leader or is it you?
It's me.
Why?
Why did I put it on the wall? Put it on the wall because I want to be known in Kirkby. You know, so people will know my name.
Why? Why do you want to be known?
So people will know me. I can know lots of people. Have more friends.
What do you want to be known for, as? Do you want to be known as a hard man?
No, I want to be known as myself.
Why?
When the Ray Gosling film was on, and I was in the Buffs Club that night, and all the people went round because Kirkby was on television. And they'd all been told, you know, this was going to be a new thing to show what the real image of Kirkby was about. And we'd already been told this, hadn't we? And this is the one, you know, you get your wings clipped on it. So the public are all sitting around looking at television to see what new image to show the other side of the coin from the vandalism and all the problems that we have to put up with. And they were disgusted, literally and truly disgusted to show this wrong image. And these are normal people sitting there and looking at your media, telling us how wrong we are and how we're not doing anything. And these are parents of families. Then they come and they look to the council and say, why are we allowing this to go on? And this is why, you know, we're all sceptical about what you're going to do for us.
Well, we don't feel that way. We've not been in existence very long, as you know, only since the 1st of April.
What we decided to do was to go to people in Kirkby and ask them to paint their own picture of themselves and their problems.
So that at least we can get some objective comment on what
Some
we're
Kirkby
doing,
councillors
what we're
on the
trying
new
to do.
Knowsley Council.
We don't ask for favours. All we ask for is fair reporting. And I
If
know
Kirkby
that
had got a better deal,
The Northwood Flat Dwellers and Tenants Association.
corporation's policy is regards to people who are little flats.
And a group of teenagers from Tower Hill. 2 days before they started their own film, we met the Northwood Flat Dwellers in their informal office, the Roughwood pub.
No, wait a minute. If you're going to do it for them, why don't you bring these councillors into us? The likes of Harold Wilson, Kilroy Silk, Gordon Oakes, Geoffrey Rippon, the archbishops, the people that we've been in touch with over the past 3 years over our problems, that everyone in the country knows about our problems. I'll bring them down here, you know.
I think it's a bit late in the
By
day
all
now to
means.
start talking about Harold Wilson and Gordon Oakes and all the rest of them. You know, we've had 2 weeks to be able to get in touch with that. I would have liked Granada to have got in touch with them, and we could have answered them back.
But we've given you now 2 weeks and you still haven't told us what you want in your film. You haven't told us yet. You want us to get Harold Wilson.
I've personally ripped 3 scripts up. I've wrote 3. The schedule's all been changed. I've personally threw 3 away.
Yeah, but we haven't seen any of these yet.
Of course not, because we kept changing our mind within our own thing. We kept changing our... Yeah, we kept changing our minds. To which way... I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly what I want to say. I know where I want the cameras to see.
And
I just
Chris
don't want...
agrees with you.
Well,
Wait a minute. You know, you're getting on us. We've had a fortnight. All right, then you've had a... You know what we're doing.
No, I
Wait a minute, Gail. You're only the way, you know. You're doing a film up. We've got to live up here. You're working up here. Well, let's get it straight and please you can come in out of place. You've got a job up here. We live up here.
But it's your 10-minute
And wait a
film.
minute. We trusted you for the last fortnight.
Did
I
you?
hope we did.
Did you?
Well,
How
we're
many
doubtful over here.
Oh,
We're doubtful over
How many
everyone.
times
Listen,
have you
Gail,
said,
it's
not
all
that I
right
don't
saying
trust
that.
you, Queen?
Queen, listen, I'm not kidding. Trust me, all your camera crew.
You're saying exactly
Never mind, I've got a right to do it. How many people have we trusted in the past? God bless and say we've trusted everyone that's come up here. I think Granada need us. We don't need Granada. You need a story. Okay, then we go ahead and do a story for you.
I don't
You know,
think we need a story.
listen, you need a
Didn't we offer you
picture.
facility
It
to
won't make
a
any
film?
difference. You wrapped your cameras up today and walked out of Northwood.
Chris,
We'd be no worse off or no better off.
Fair enough.
What we want is something entirely different what the Granada can do or the BBC or anyone else can do. We want a decent standard of living up here. We want
I
a
know
better
exactly the
place.
statements I want to make. I know exactly what I want to shoot. And if it doesn't get done that way, it's not going to get done at all, because I'm not going to go on it. I'm going to do empty, it'd be all on empty flats. I don't want people burying their heads in the sand. Just saying, oh, Kirkby took a hell of a knocking. I want people to start being realistic and to start looking and say, well, Christ almighty, they have got a problem up there. I want to show them it. And I want people to turn around and try and deny it.
Well, you're asking us an awful hard job to show you the problems that we've got in one day. If you're going to take all the problems in there, you'd be here for a month.
Well, yes.
All right, so you're showing us one day to show you a few of the problems that we've got in Northwood, particularly in the housing, right? I don't know whether you're interested in anything else, like, but 10 minutes is short enough for the housing problem.
The Northwood Flat Dwellers agreed to go ahead on the basis that they could come to Granada to edit their own film.
So we can go to Manchester on our invitation and cut it to suit us.
Yes.
Because that many people have been up here doing films and doing recordings on tape and one thing and another, wireless press conferences, that, you know, they intend to cut what we say out and put what they want to think in.
I don't intend to make any mistakes, and I don't intend to put it in a position where I'm going to have to cut anything.
We want the truth on this film, and it'll be left to the chairman and the secretary to put this story over on film and tell the truth about Kirkby and the conditions and lay the blame at the door of the people responsible. And I think we leave the rest to the chairman and the secretary, with all due respect. Thank you.
Well, this is one of the first things Jack Bohanna, that's the new housing manager of Knowsley, came and seen last April. I think it was the first Sunday he took over. And he said it was in a terrible condition, and he'd do something about it. Well, that's the things like, you know, that we're going to show you the rest of the day, I hope.
Before he took over, by the way, they should have actually come up and examined the property for this type of thing, because you can blame vandalism for a lot of it, but you can't blame vandalism for that. But that's just bad building as far as I'm concerned.
We've all got nice homes. It's just the type
It's
of the
not
flats.
the flat, it's the environment.
You know, we don't want to be classed as with dirty people and all that jazz, you know what I mean?
When people watching television sort of see Kirkby, that whatever they're looking at, they sort of say, oh, that must be Kirkby. It's not the inside of the homes that's wrong. It's the outside of the homes that's wrong.
Oh, no, wait a minute, listen. I hope it's thinking about this, that we are good people. The people who live in flats, there's some great people live in flats. And I don't think that anyone should look down on us. What we're trying to say now is, you know, what's wrong with the flats? Why do people look down on us because we live in flats? Because we're treated like second-class citizens. I think you'll agree with this.
Third class.
Or third, second class.
We're third class.
Have you ever asked the councillors to get you out of these flats?
I have. And they kept saying that they were getting in touch with Miss Field and they kept saying they were getting me a place. And I'm still there. And I'm having another baby in May. And I couldn't bring a baby home to the conditions what they are down there. You know what we're living in.
How many children have you got?
I've got 2 now. And I'll have another baby in May. But they keep saying that they're getting us out and getting us out. But I couldn't bring a baby home to that. It'd be in and out of hospital by the minute.
And she's right, you know, because whether people accept it or not, this is Northwood Kirkby 1975. Some people say, don't show the bad things only about Kirkby, but these very same people are the ones who don't have to bring up their families in these conditions, who don't have to live amongst this awful environment or be subjected to it night and day. Now, whether they like it or not, these dwellings are being shown in the hope that someone with the authority will do something about the situation before this sort of thing spreads to other parts of Knowsley. 2 bricks and mortar matter. We think so, but we think flesh and blood is more important. Planners, builders and housing departments seem to think different. We would like to see these kind of people living in flats, just to see how long they'd stick it. The screams would be unmerciful, and it's about time it was admitted that these flats are a terrible mistake. Believe it or not, families are still living amongst this filth and squalor and paying ridiculous rents and rates for the pleasure of it. But you're not going to get anything unless you stand back and then come on.
And then you can interview people later on.
Yeah. Yeah, fine. Just, again, no more talking on it.
Yeah, once we get involved in talking, we're going to be at all.
No, you want to put voice over when you get back?
Yeah. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to come on the top level. Just want the camera following sort of me and him round. Yeah. And I was thinking, what do you think it might be an idea if we got the sound recorded and as we come in the block we said, we've come to view a flat.
Well,
you know, shall we take one or what? And we'll pretend we're looking round.
I think we show Gail a Peter one, a young couple from Manchester who like coming to view the empty property, but still. Going in first, right?
I'll go straight up, because you want to look at that top. What's the water? Get a shot in the roof, Michael, coming up here. Take this one, it's the best one, the block, isn't it?
This was inside of the flat.
This is a flat. This is actually a flat.
What room's this?
This is the back kitchen.
And what's this? This is just cupboard.
That's the pantry, and that's like sort of a clothes cupboard type of thing. Come and have a look at the bathroom.
That's your bathroom.
Mind you, the back leaks a bit.
Blowing past there.
We have a look at the bedrooms.
Oh, wait a minute, Wally, there's one shot in there. Oh, yeah, we can get it there. What the hell these are for? I don't know.
What?
The bricks. If that's not jerry built, I don't know what isn't. I can't see. It must be to keep the roof up.
Well, to stop it from falling down.
Well, it's an idea, isn't it?
Have a look at that roof again, will you, Mike? Now, this has been like this for about 12 to 18 months. We know it's vandals who are doing it, but they haven't they've done nothing about it anyway.
And it's only since we took the summons out in court that they've cleaned it up. Because where's all the muck off the roof, you know, you can see yourself they've cleaned it up. And that's only since we took court action out against them.
Isn't it a shameful indictment against the local authority when tenants have to take legal action to get basic repairs done and get drains put in a proper working order, along with many other defects to their homes. We of the Northwood Flats Dwellers and Tenants Association have had great success in the courts, but regrettably, it should have been Liverpool Kirkby who were made to pay, rather than the New Knowsley Council. Our association tried to warn the Housing Committee many months before they inherited this property, but they ignored us. If they had taken our advice, a lot of the devastation would have been avoided. Anyway, what's to be done about it all? For our part, we will cooperate and assist anyone who wants to make this a better place for our children to grow up in, providing, of course, they are prepared to face reality. In these days, when the talk is of national unity, we up here in Kirkby could do with a bit of local unity. We can do with all the help we can get. What's it like living on your own in one block?
What do you think it's like?
I can imagine.
Haven't they given any hope at all, Clint?
Just said, you know, top of the list, like, you just have to raise.
Top of the flats, more like it. Anyway, we'll push them again this week on this one, love. How long's this been blocked, man?
Oh, that's been blocked about 2 years. That's I could go back 9 years when it was done, and that was the only time it was ever done since they were up. You know, the big job from the outside right through.
Well, we have asked him, Mr. McKenna, to look into the drains of Kirkby, you know, but we got knocked back on that. He said there's nothing wrong with them. That's what he told us. There's nothing wrong with the drains in Kirkby.
Well, you know, and I know.
So we've got that in black and white.
We've got that in letters. Yeah. They've blamed the people themselves. They said we throw bikes and things down. You see, so I'd like to see someone up and anyway and have a look at the drains, but we don't seem to be getting any sense out of them. The fault doesn't lie. The fault of Kirkby and Northwood in particular does not lie with the Knowsley Borough Council. The fault must be thrown down back to Liverpool. They were the ones who destroyed our standard of living up here. They were the ones who destroyed our quality of life as regards housing.
But that doesn't satisfy the people that's still in the flats. We've still got to get these people out the flats that want to get out the flats.
And Chris, I ask you...
And what I want to ask the women now, you know, the people, the viewers or anyone on television, they want to know what's wrong with a flat. You know, a flat's a nice place.
Chris, it might be a good idea to get Billy the Mac to say what he thinks, being a householder, regarding flats. What's an outside opinion on it? He's living in a house. What happens in flats?
Would you like to live in a flat, Billy, what you've seen?
Well, when we first came to Kirkby, I'll be quite honest with you, when we were given the keys of the house, we didn't know it was going to be a house. We just went to the letting office and they gave us a bunch of keys. We didn't know. But my wife was prepared, even at that stage, 17 years ago, to absolutely get back on that bus again and not even enter a flat. And that was her opinion then. And she was wise enough then to see. And she was only a young girl then, you know, if I must say that. That's 17 years ago. And she said I wouldn't live in one of those if you gave me the town hall clock.
If these want to build this into a proper town, they should knock the flats down and give us all
I'll agree with you.
And I'll tell you something, that if we did have all houses, this would be a marvellous place.
What, have you any rats or mice in your area?
Plenty.
We've got the lot in ours.
So we've got the lot. We've got flies everywhere. The smells from the drain's bad. And then we've got the back place. And so where's children going to play?
Well, no, my kids are quiet. Now, I know if I take them anywhere and someone minds them. No, if someone minds my kids, they say, aren't they quiet kids? It's because you're constantly telling them, don't make a noise, butt you underneath, don't make a noise, you'll have the neighbours, you know, all like that.
How many kids do you know that living in a flat that are on drugs?
My little boy's on drugs.
Your
he can't
boy?
sleep, yes.
How old's he?
He's 13.
13 years, and he's on tranquilizers.
Yeah, he can't sleep because of the noise of the club. I have the health coming up to me with the little girl, and I even asked the health would they have a look at the drain, because Kathy had been reporting it and nothing had been done. I asked them to have a look at the one next door to me. As far as I know, it's been reported, and as far as I can make out, it's never been fixed, has it, Kathy?
Yes, one of them came up.
Has any of the children been sick with the bad drains?
Well, I've got a little girl, she keeps picking a germ. Well, she's had a germ, and they said she's picked a germ up from somewhere.
Well, we had 2 children die in this area, as you know, with the germ they picked up out of the ground. They said it was a mysterious illness.
Well, that's what my little girl's been with, a mysterious
James.
And that was through the bad drainage in the flats.
One of the biggest problems of flats, to me, is trying to get a standard of education so that your own kids can say, right, well, what my dad went through, I'm not going to go through. And this was a big thing with me, that I could never find a place in my flat that I lived in to put my kids in to do homework. Because they all wanted to watch the telly in the one big room. You had no sort of gas fires, lecky fires or anything.
There is no privacy, is there, in a
flat? No, and there's no heating. You've got one room, that's the living room you're living in.
Exactly. What I say is this, I say do not put children into blocks of 3-up flats. We're not talking about multi-stories, we're talking about these walk-in flats, what they call 3-up walk-in flats. And the only answer to the flats is to move anyone with kids out of the flats, period.
The problem up here is not only housing. We've also got a very serious teenage problem up here in Northwood. No, wait a minute. No, let's say this about vandalism. We've got to say it. Because there is a lot of vandalism, don't you?
Oh,
well, wait a minute. We've still got a police force up here, haven't we? Or is it?
Well,
we have got a police force up here.
Well, I come back.
But do they do the job? Wait a minute.
Well, that's where it is. Do they do the job? They should have a security on here. There's some kind of
I've seen policemen, and they're only young lads.
Yeah. And they've been
and
hitting kids.
I've seen a car turned over now. You were there the night that car was turned over, and those police were trying to do their job. But Chris, they didn't stand a chance because there was a big mob round here. Now, Chris,
yeah, well,
nice.
wait a minute. The big mob's on here for what reason, Mary? Where have they got to go?
They've got nowhere to go to the boys' club to get bars for what?
Well, look, they had that youth club built for them, didn't they?
Oh, but a youth club's only... Yeah, but you can't get a couple of thousand kids in there. If you get 80 in there...
We know that, but there's some of them that don't want it.
The population of just Northwood alone.
There's some of them that don't want these places. They're sooner go down, destructive.
Look how that's done this.
Northwood kids getting the blame for things that do
have
their
own
and it's not Northwood kids that do
There's nothing wrong with the Northwood. There's nothing wrong with any kids.
In the eyes of my woman I stand, a hero with giants, a man who's as tall as can be. And if you can see that she's looking through the eyes of love, the eyes of love, the eyes of love, when she looks at me, that she's looking through the eyes of love, the eyes of love, when she looks at me.
Mr. Moran, we came here this morning, you know, to do a film on Northwood. Well, the first part of the film was taken up about the environmental problem we have up here, i.e. damaged flats, etc. And we wanted to show the good parts of Kirkby as well as the bad parts. Because in past and television, you know, we've been criticised and criticised left and right. But here today, I mean, we've seen the real future of Kirkby, which is the good part of Kirkby, Mr. Moran. That's why we came here this afternoon.
Well, I hope that you have noticed this afternoon that Kirkby, from this evidence alone, has got a future. My children, how lovely they are and how well they sing. I'm very proud of them this afternoon. And as some of the main actors will tell us in a moment, we've had opened here in 1959 and we've had pantomime every Christmas since. Now, put your hands up, children, those of you who had brothers and sisters in past years in the school and in our pantomimes. Now you tell me what pantomimes your brothers and sisters were in.
My sister was in one called Hansel and Gretel, and my brother was in one called Goody Goody Two Shoes.
Very good. And your brother and sister?
My brother was in Hansel and Gretel. Oh no, he was in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Yes, and your brother...
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Said he was a big wizard.
Well, Mr. Morans, you know when you look around, you know, Northwood in particular.
Yes.
Doesn't, say, the education, from your point of view, you're being headmaster, don't you ever feel as though sometimes you're fighting a losing battle, you know? So
Well,
we're trying to get the environment put right, that's the houses, flats, masonettes type of thing, and I often wonder how it affects the children.
Well,
do you think it affects them in any way?
Well, all I'm concerned about is that we educate them and turn them out as good as any other children in the world, which we do. Now, whether the environment thereafter has an effect on them, that will remain to be seen as they grow older. They will, in their day, make their presence felt on Northwood.
I can ask the children a question here. How many like living in Kirkby? Do you like living in Kirkby? And do you want to stay in Kirkby?
Yes.
Well, then we've got to fight for better housing conditions because we don't want to bring them up, Mr. Moore. I think you agree. Yeah. For the future of Kirkby, this is what we're fighting now.
In the eyes of the world, I'm a loser just wasting my time. I can't make a time. In the eyes of the world, being poor was my first big mistake. I can't get a break. But in the eyes of my woman I stand, a hero with giants, a man who's as tall as can be. Any fool can see that she's looking through the eyes of love, through the eyes of love, through the eyes of love, when she looks at me.
After seeing the conditions in the Northwood flats from the point of view of the flat dwellers, we now turn our attention to the problems of the local council. Knowsley Borough has just taken over from Liverpool Corporation the responsibilities for all of Knowsley's council houses. They've submitted a 5-year plan to the government to rehabilitate thousands of houses, flats and maisonettes at a cost of £86 million. Kirkby has more houses with hot water, fixed baths and inside toilets than any other area in Lancashire, but it also has more overcrowding. 12% of all Kirkby families live 2 or more to a room.
I'm getting quite tight.
To announce the new £86 million programme, the council held a press conference. They were anxious to talk about Kirkby's problems and to answer questions from the press, radio and television.
Okay, rolling Dick. There seems to be a suggestion that Liverpool shirked their responsibilities towards housing in this area before you took them over.
Yes, well, let me put it another way. Liverpool didn't do what they should have done so far as the maintenance of housing belonging to them in Kirkby and Knowsley generally is concerned.
That we as an authority, and I was speaking on behalf of the authority at that time, welcomed a responsible press, but under no circumstances would we tolerate anything other than responsibility. And now I should like to ask Councillor Tempest, who is the leader of the council, to start the proceedings. He will be making a statement to you, and then it will be an open forum. So, Councillor Tempest.
Now, I understand that a document has been provided to the members of the press on the housing programme for the next 5 years, which amounts to something like £85 million. And the mind boggles when one thinks about spending £85 million. As a result of the investigations made by our officers, we've come to the conclusion that we need to spend in total this £85 million to make all the houses which we took over fit for people to live in modern standards. In Kirkby alone there was something like 13,000 Liverpool houses, and it wasn't possible for councillors to know the state of 13,000 Liverpool houses. What we knew as a result of complaints from constituents that their houses weren't being maintained.
Well, we could protest at the department about the way the houses have been left, and in fact we know, for instance, on lifts alone, that we've got to spend £550,000 to put the lifts right in some of the high-rise dwellings. But whether we can persuade another district council to meet the obligation, I personally believe that it is due to the neglect. Well, probably, knowing that reorganisation was taking place, one could probably understand that these people would neglect it due to reorganisation. They'd spend far more on their own houses than they would on ours.
It is a fact that all these tenants have for years been paying annually a maintenance allowance to the absentee landlord.
Just to finalise that, we do intend discussing this with Liverpool, but it'll be a matter for them agreeing. I don't think we have any legal redress.
It's Brindley.
Yeah.
Kirkby tenants owe approximately £750,000 in rent arrears. To illustrate some of the difficulties they face, the council gave us permission to film in one of Kirkby's housing offices from their side of the grill.
For you anyway.
Permanently, though?
Pardon?
You can have them permanently?
Well, we think now that all the work inside it has been done.
Yeah.
So if I give you the key and you go to view it...
And then bring them back and see
Yeah, if you just let me know then what has got to be done, if there's anything, you know, outstanding.
Right.
Okay?
Fair enough, yeah.
Hello, Ted. Hello, it's Cathy here. Now, you had some problem last week in Roughwood Drive in the multi-stories. There were some boys, all from one family. I've got the name of the family. Yes, that's right. And they were causing trouble in the lifts. Now, I've been on to the police liaison who've been very helpful. The thing is, they know all the boys, but if possible, they want the Christian names so that they know who to talk to individually. Our liaison officer has been round to the family, but we want it from the police side now. The thing is, can you talk to Mr. Boardman and Steve and see if they can get these Christian names? They probably do know them, actually. Yeah. And they told him they were going to set about him, did they? Okay.
Oh, thank you very much indeed.
'Cause-
Hello. It's Mrs. Chambers
Okay,
in
that's
Rosebud
fine.
Council. I wonder if you can help me, please. Who is the social worker
Yes.
dealing with a Mrs. Harvey?
Yeah. Okay, then.
An alleged
Bye-bye.
possession order.
Mr. Thorbenson, please. Right. Take a seat. Is that the right way to pronounce your name? Thorbenson, is it?
Yeah, Torbjornsson.
Oh, God, I think I call it Thorbenson.
That's my mother's letter.
Are you the daughter of George and Eileen Thorbenson? I see. And the request is that your mother and father are going to Norway
Next year.
But they're only going on a holiday, aren't they?
Yes.
I see. And they want your sister-in-law to take over the tenancy?
No, me.
I think I've got this wrong. Wait a minute. You're the girl who lives in Wellfield?
Wellfield,
Yeah. And you want to take over the tenancy?
Yes.
Now you haven't had a visitor around, have you?
No, my mother had one last week and I've been waiting. And my mother got that letter yesterday.
Yeah. Well, you see, we were going to send a visit around to see you as well. But of course, one thing that does stand in the way of this is the fact that, you are in rent arrears on your present tenancy.
Well, I know about that, but I'm willing to
£60.
pay them off weekly. And my mother is finishing hers off altogether.
Yeah. And how much does she owe you? I know you owe about £60, don't you, or something like that?
No, my mother
£61.
owes £60.
Yeah. And how much do you owe?
Oh, God, I don't know.
Yeah, because we won't even, consider the request until those arrears are sorted out.
Well, I can't
Appreciate
pay them.
that.
Because I'm not married.
Yeah. Just to
I
recap,
can't go to work.
on your address, you're in a two-bedroom house, two-bedroom kitchen type house.
Yeah.
And there's yourself and the cohabitee there, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah. And the children's ages are?
Julie should be 10 in February.
Yeah.
The boy 7.
Yeah.
Another girl 6.
Girl 6, yeah.
And boy 2.
Boy 2.
They're all in a one bedroom and I can only get 2 beds in that room.
Yeah.
So there's 2 in each side.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you are obviously overcrowded in a two-bedroom, even though...
And if I moved in with my mother now, she still wouldn't be overcrowded because she's permitted now.
Yeah. Well, we might, if you sorted your rent out, we could allow you permission to reside at 85 Whitefield Drive as
There's no way I
subtenants.
can because I'd have paid it.
How did you get into arrears in the first place?
Well, it started when I first moved up here 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
I was on the national assistance and I was getting so much one week and so much the next week until they got everything sorted out.
Yeah.
And then the social security said they were going to pay me rent each week and something off the arrears. Well, the arrears was only £50 odd then. And
well, it's still quite a bit, isn't it? You know, it's been going
so
down.
that was all right. And then it was months after that I got a letter from the housing to say I was getting evicted. Well, I took the letter to the social security and, you know, gave it to them. And they said to me, well, have you been paying your rent? I said, no. I said, you said you were going to pay me rent direct. So they started umming and ahhing, and I had a letter, you know, to prove it, that they said they were going to pay the rent plus so much off the arrears. So I went out, I found that, and I went up to this probation officer.
Yeah.
And he got in touch with the social security and said, you know, it was their fault.
Yeah.
So, we
So it's all being paid regularly now.
All piled up again.
But even so, you'll appreciate before you went, you know, on the direct payments from the social security, you were in arrears.
Yeah.
Now, if it was straight, you see, you are overcrowded in a 2-bedroom house. We could move you to a 3.
It's just the house itself. I hate it.
Yeah.
I've never liked it.
Yeah, well, I can understand that, you know, but even if you like the house, it's still overcrowded in a 2-bedroom. We could move you to a 3-bedroom.
No, it's just my mother's house because I was
Yeah.
brought up there.
And I can't really see any prospects at all in that, because it is a 4-bedroom, and you'll appreciate that 4-bedroom houses, when they come empty, they're rather like gold here. We have many overcrowded families, even in 3 bedrooms after them. And, of course, they've got to be given, you know, prior consideration. So I can't see any prospect of you being granted the tenancy at all, because that will be like jumping the transfer queue.
It's Mrs. Burrows is the social worker involved with this family.
Yeah.
She says that there isn't a legal separation for a start. She doesn't think that the possession order has actually, you know, in force at the moment. So I'd say no,
Well,
no help.
If
Send
they're
them back
going
St.
to be like
Helens.
that, yeah, St. Helens should help them.
Yeah.
I was a
Under no
bit
cir-
suspicious about this from the beginning, especially as this other person came on, you know, on the old boy network,
Yes,
and
yeah.
it doesn't
Oh, no,
wash.
no.
Now that other case, this victimisation one, you can have the report to take back this afternoon. I feel 2 ways about it. You know, one, there's the rent, which is important, and there's the fact that it's not really a matter that concerns us, housing, but of course there's the children involved, and if it means that the children are going to get victimised, you know, I think we have to come in there.
What did the police say?
They feel it's genuine. In fact, they feel it's very genuine.
So it would be a case of moving her entirely out of the area?
Yeah, she'd have to go out of the area, but she wants to anyway.
Where's the husband now?
She's agreed to make a payment off the rent. He's helping with enquiries.
Yes, is he inside?
Yes.
Oh. So it's a wife and...
2 of them are babies. One's just attending school, so there's no worry. The kid has just started school. There's no worry about changing schools.
This is the one where they set
On the
light
other
in the car.
hand, she doesn't want people to know where she's gone at all. And one thing, she won't come back to the home, so we're losing money there. Whereas the other way, we can have an arrangement to get this arrears, and we can get the new rent put on direct.
Is her home vandalised now?
Yes, it is.
So they've wrecked it. She couldn't return to it anyway.
We take the view that the answer to vandalism is not an easy one. You can't pin down to any one reason for people wanting to vandalise property or whatever. But we take the view that if we provide facilities for people, and we can get people to use the facilities, then eventually it will defeat this particular problem. We feel that this is the way to tackle it, and we feel that up to an extent we're succeeding.
Now I feel this is a major step forward in leisure, and I think the Knowsley Borough Council are very fortunate to have a building like this, because the family can keep together if they want to. In other words, you don't go home and the father says, "Here you are, love, we've had a good game of squash, go and sit and watch the television, I'm going out the pub." What I'd like to see in the future is something based on this in Kirkby, is a family leisure in which all age groups can come to the centre themselves and not be split up. They're all inside the centre. You've got the squash on the right here, where we've seen early on that people were playing. And here, if you like to turn round here, you've got your table tennis, again, all age groups can play it. I mean, nobody's barred off because they're a young age, or nobody's barred off because they're a pensioner. And this is very good. And again, family. And then we come over here, and this is the actual arena itself. It's got all the facilities one can think of for a sports hall, finishing up, of course, in a lounge bar. What else do we want? Family leisure, facilities here, bar facilities so the father doesn't have to run away to the pub. I think that's it. Marvellous.
We wanted Kirkby teenagers to make a film, so we approached a group of boys and girls who were taking part in a council-run pilot scheme. The scheme was designed to study the needs of youngsters in Tower Hill. Just before we started filming, the council prevented the kids from using their social worker's flat as a meeting place. This action was in response to a petition from local residents. The boys and girls refused to make a film, just to follow them around on a normal night out. But the girls presented us with a film script in the form of an essay.
South Dean, Northwood, Westfield, Tower Hill, Kirkby Estate. Ideas what to talk about. Diane, Marie, Kathy, Karen, Alwyn, Claire and Dysa. Coming down from Diane's talk and someone says, let's go over to Beetham House. They go over and criticise about the caretaker and the walls. Then, about the waste ground and nowhere to go overnight. People in Kirkby, houses, lads, girls, what might interest them. People who chase them away and tell them to go and play and there's nowhere to play, so they don't realise. People who say film directors pull Kirkby to bits and they don't do nothing to help. What's going to happen to us when we leave school? Job situations, anything else that anyone thinks about.
Yeah, but to our jive in a minute, we sing, come on, jukebox jive, just like they did in 1955. Do the jukebox do, do the jukebox do, do the jukebox do, do the jukebox, come on, jukebox jive.
We used to go in Alan Sharp's of a night, but he moved to on top of the flats. See there?
Yeah.
There. That's him. We used to go there, but he moved to on top of the shops. He used to live over in Peartree.
And you went there to do what?
We used to play records and dance and all that there.
Like a play centre.
Like Chris's. And then we went to a Chris's. And then the caretaker.
What's Chris's?
Chris's house.
You know Madeline? A play centre, like a play centre.
It was like a play centre, you know, for the kids. You could paint in there, dance in there, and, you know, do all sorts of different types of things. And then the caretaker got a petition about the noise. And
to get us all thrown out.
Get us all thrown out. And if we didn't stop going in there, well, Maz was going to get shut out.
So we all stopped going in there.
So we all had to stop going in there.
One of the girls' regular meeting places is this local mobile shop.
We need places of a night because there's just nowhere to go, and that's why we get into this trouble. Like when we go to van, the lad chucks us out. And if we go down the shops, people are shouting out the windows and everything. So everywhere we go, we just get chased. What are you on it? Come on, we won't get out, 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 we won't get out.
Diane, what's going on? Come on. Why don't you tell the kids to get out the van? I'm telling the kids. Oh, come on, let's get someone served here.
Come on, let's get out.
You're not getting served. Get out the front of the Come on. What's going on here, boss? Hey! What's going on?
Stupid. See what we mean now, like round here, everywhere we go, we get chased.
I know, get moaned at, chased.
Every time we go anywhere, we get chased. Moaned at, everywhere.
Well, do you film it somewhere else?
There's nowhere else to do it.
What are you filming for?
Because we are trying to give Kirkby a good name.
You look like it, don't you?
Yeah.
Don't need to get out the bloody van.
Oh, God. Tell you one thing, good thing they have built in Kirkby. That's the ski slope, and that was even done back to front. They've done a ski slope, they've done a sports hall. That's a good thing. That can learn how to be an athlete.
People in Tower Hill, how far have they got to travel? Yeah. And for instance, they've got to go right down there, and they need bus fares. Pay to get in, yeah. And you're always hungry when you come out doing things, and you need money for chips or something like that, you know, the chippy.
Just think what we could have here. A great big dance.
And it wouldn't disturb
It wouldn't disturb no one. Oh, would it be fantastic? Oh, wouldn't it just... It would, yeah. We're not old enough to go in pubs, put it that way, so our mothers are all right. They can go to pubs and things, but we can't go nowhere.
Yeah, we can't go downtown. Not it's even too violent down here. That's what about the centre.
I know, yeah. You can't hardly walk around these streets unless they're Offwood or
the
Tower Hill gang come up to you.
Yeah, that's what if we had a club, there'd be no fighting or not. We could all go out and dance. Just for great, wouldn't it?
It would be fantastic.
Yeah. Should we have a dance?
Yeah.
I like to be valley run away.
Entertain.
I know, yeah, they turn around and say the kids should go somewhere and play. And then again, they criticise people pulling Kirkby's a bit, but they're not doing they're not doing nothing about, you know, the waste grounds, and they're not doing nothing about it when people do pull Kirkby's a bit, and I think they should do something about it.
We used to have girls hanging around with us, but these girls who, you know, go round in big gangs, hard girls, you know, in airway and that, not airway, you know, all hard, who smoke and that, they started to come around with us and they wanted them to. And I said that they'll regret it. And when they did start hanging around with us, they all did. Big kids came in. You know, we wanted to see what it's like with us mixing. And then the girls who hung around with us, they began to hang around with the big kids and become hard. And if she saw Liverpoolians, she'd really hit them. She'd kick them and really hit them. That's why they started to regret it, saying I hate it. I wish they had not come with us.
Over there, there's a football pitch. Nah, it's not a football pitch, it's just waste, but you could turn it into a grey pitch, couldn't you?
Here, there's all waste. All along here by this railway, it's all waste. This could be used up. All on the other side of the old, it could be used up. And all at the back of the community centre. We're all in between 11 and 13. And there's no little kids around with us. That's what's good. And there's no big kids to pick on us, and there's no little kids for us to pick on. That's why it's a good gang hanging around with all these. If they see a fight, they say, oh, I'm going. You know, they try to avoid it. But sometimes I make them fight. You know, sometimes it's stupid. But if they don't fight, they'll get picked on until they stand up for themselves. But they're all right. It's just great hanging around with one another.
Hurry up! Come on.
Go ahead, pick the number. Come on. What's it up to? 7. 4. Yes, man. Three. Hang on. 7.
They used to all, you know, come around in gangs, really fighting, because they used to come across there and go up there fighting by the Rallathrone stones. But no, you don't see that. You don't see them walking around in big gangs in here, or coming over to fight, saying we want you to fight, or things like that. It's all different, you know. We must have all got jobs or got something better to do now.
If you have a situation in any town where there are large numbers of young people who, through no fault of their own, are unable to get jobs, and not just for weeks, but for months and in some cases years, the only thing they can do is to roam around the streets. They become bored, they become frustrated, and I suppose eventually they will do things which normally they wouldn't do.
You've played this game before. Definitely played this game before, you. Definitely.
Centre Services is a youth project that has been set up by the warden of this youth club, the Reverend Terry Gibson, and also the rector for Kirkby, the Reverend John Wayne. The idea of the project was to try and help the young people who are unemployed, because at the moment most of the unemployed young people come to this youth club, Centre 63, and the numbers were getting so great that they decided to start up a window cleaning round. And this they did, and they have been very, very successful. They are employing 4 young people, and of course it's a non-profit making concern, and of course the boys get the money back in the form of wages. But unfortunately this is only stopgap. What we do need in Kirkby is more industry, and more industry that are prepared to take some of the unemployed young people, because Kirkby have really got a problem as far as unemployed young people are concerned.
I've just come out and I couldn't get a job nowhere. And that's all it boils down to. Now, at this stage, if you haven't got a job now, you'll never have a job in another 5 years' time, and you'll end up inside. You know, because you're going to run down, you're going to do something. You've got to have money. And you can't just stand around all day. And as you get older, you want to go on the air, you want to go with that. So you've got to have money, so therefore you end up screwing. You know, you're going on the thieves, you're robbing out of shops, and you're screwing houses, you're doing everything just to get a few bob to take you to our house or whatever it is, you know what I mean, go on the air. If I'd have had a job, I'd never been inside, because I'd never done nothing. And this, honest to God, honestly speaking, I'd never been in trouble right up until I was 15, and it was when I left school.
Well, that's because the jobs now, they just, you know, they can take the cream, can't they? Up here, there's one job going about 40 go, they just take the best out of that, don't they? That's it, just the cream. So that puts us no chance, doesn't it? Because I'm no cream.
Do you think the council are doing anything to help you people to get employment in the area and eventually get jobs?
Well, we don't know. We don't know what the council do. You know, they've probably got more busy things on their mind than us, like, you know.
Well, no, this isn't true. Obviously, the council are very much concerned about unemployment in the area, and no doubt you've read in the various papers and seen on television and heard on the radio that the council have made several attempts to bring industry into Kirkby, because obviously until industry come to Kirkby there's not much chance. If there's anything you feel we can do as an education committee or the youth employment service or the career service, whatever you like to call it, please tell us now. Let's hear your criticism, and I promise you that I'll go back to the members of the council and try and get some of your views heard.
No matter what we say, like, will it take effect? That's the point, isn't it?
Well, as I say,
like, you know, you said they're not taking big firms. Big firms won't come over to Kirkby, as you say, you're trying. Well, if they won't come over when you try, what influence are we going to have? You know, we've got to try ourselves, like.
I know what you're trying to do, and you did it very well, to sort of highlight the serious problem of unemployment with the youth in Kirkby. But it could give the impression that this is what's happening to all youngsters who are leaving school, because there's no reference made to any other youngsters.
We've got quite a lot to go to polytechs and universities.
I'm not suggesting you should do as much on the other side as you've done on this side.
Because that's the problem
because
side.
This is the problem.
Do you feel that the council is too puny to deal with the whole problem?
A local authority can only act as a pressure group, if you like, on governments, on industry itself. Try to get its public relations right, which is something this we're trying to do with this film, and to try and persuade people to come.
How much do you see this film as being your film, as the film that you would like to portray if you were filmmakers?
You put me on a spot now, haven't you? See, if I was going to make a film, I suppose I would be as guilty as some of the people in the past have been of making
taking the film the wrong way. Might as well be honest about that. I don't know, really. You see, I'd be inclined to counter what, in fact, has happened in the past. I'd be inclined to be going into the community centres. I'd be inclined to go into the sports centres. I'd be inclined to film the boxing club doing the training, the cycling club doing some training. I'd be inclined to do this, which I suppose would make me just as guilty as Gosling was.
Time! Come on, don't let yourself down now. That's that. Come on. That's right there. Come on.